Okay, so like I said, I sorry, what got this hat? Okay, so at this point, I'm in full on survivor mode. Like, okay, outwit, outplay, outlast. I gotta outwit this dude, okay? Because I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of this apartment. I didn't know who had the keys. I didn't know who was coming in and out, and I didn't like it anyway. So I had to focus on securing my new apartment, and that just took a lot of time, a lot of like wiring money and bank accounts and like international banking stuff. And I mean, it was just, yeah, it was a lot. But so I had to figure that out. Then I had to make sure that I kept SKB at bay because I didn't want him to know that I was, getting ready to jump ship. And I mean, even though we did agree that after the first month that if it did not work, then we would go our separate ways. But he likes to toss around this, suing you, and I could take you to court, and it's so ridiculous because first of all, Americans, we like to go to court. I mean, seriously, we have court shows on every hour. People like to go to court for fun. I mean, not, of course, not literally, but you know what I mean. Like we're not afraid of confrontation. But even though the whole court system is completely different here, it's not all about justice. It's a lot about just who has the most money. I mean, even more so than in America, at times. But no, I mean, for the most part, it's not even worth going to court. It's just like you're just end up spending a lot of money. And then, uh, yeah, I just didn't want him to start acting like even crazier. So I was not feeling well, and I just told him, I was with some friends, and they were like nursing me back to health, and it really was true. And do you know when he heard this, he didn't even no, he immediately called me, but I didn't even feel like talking to him. But he didn't leave a message. He never called back. He never sent me a text. Never sent me an email. Like he didn't care. He really didn't. And then I think it wasn't until maybe later on, like maybe like 8 hours later or something like that, he sent an email and just said like, "Oh, I'm concerned." But then at the same time, he's gonna try and tell me, "Have you graded those essays though yet?" Or because I need those by Monday. Really? Like, okay, all right. But I mean, I'm not shocked about SKB. He can be very cold-hearted in different moments. I'm not saying he's like that all the time, but he can have moments where he can just be very cold like that. So again, it was just more evidence for me, like, this dude, he just sees you as somebody that he's gonna just try and work, you know, and work hard the entire time you're here and everything. And like I said, I'm here to, yes, teach or, whatever, but I'm also here to write. I'm also here to do some video, to study yoga, to network, to meet people, to get to know the culture, to travel around. And I mean, you can do that and teach. I mean, people do it all the time. But again, like it wasn't just about that. He was trying to control me and everything. So anyway, I knew I had to get out of my place, and I knew I had to find another job or another prospective employer immediately, and just get my foot in the door. And so, like I said, I did have this offer to interview with this multimedia or like a television station company and another company. They did work in like branding, but it was very corporate. It sounded very involved. It sounded like I was actually working even more hours than I would be normally. And again, I could do that in the United States, and I have done that in the United States. And that's just not where I'm at right now. Like there's something else I'm here to work on and to do and to develop. So I'm sticking with that. And it seemed like the whole energy of the trip started to shift. The more I started to take control of things and just get my information and be independent from SKB, it seems like he was getting weaker and I was getting stronger. And I needed one more day because I still wasn't quite, my health still wasn't there, and and I was still stressing in the situation because I was talking about it all the time, but I kind of had to because I needed a sounding board, and so I could bounce things off of like Lisa and her husband and stuff. So anyway, they were so gracious and so nice, and they were just like, yeah, you could stay another day, no problem. So I'm like, thank you guys so much, and they're like, no problem. So I stayed a third night, and I think that was the first night I kind of slept through like 85% of the night, which was fantastic. Next day, I was just on, or like, yeah, I was just like online all day, making connections, getting information. Almost everyone I talk to are like, this dude's crazy. Kind of like, yeah, you don't need that, girl. Like, get out of that situation. Here's how you can do it. Like so many people were like, oh, no, no, yeah. So meanwhile, I told him, I'm like, yeah, because again, I did not want to tip him off, even though I wanted to go off on him or like just wanted to like cut off communication, I couldn't do that. I had to remain very calm, and I had to like kind of like let him underestimate me a little bit. And I hate to do that sometimes because I think being African American, and again, this is like obviously like one of my belief systems, which is, something I learned with my family, something I learned in society, something, that there is truth to it, but it's not a solid truth. But a lot of times, you feel like you have to prove yourself because a lot of times you're being judged before you open your mouth, before you like do anything. I mean, just people just see the color of your skin and they make all these assumptions and, everything else. So I feel like, what was my whole point with this about like proving myself? Yeah, like in the past, I've had these jobs where I've had these employers because I think I was going through that, or just feeling like I had to prove myself. I was attracting employers who were like requiring that. It was like a very law of attraction kind of thing, and I would attract these bully employers. I mean, even though they might be very good at their job and very outstanding and very successful in their positions, I would have these employers. I would think like almost my last three, yeah, my last three employers between 2005, no, 2006 and 2010. Yeah, over the last 4 years. Yeah, they were big bullies, using fear tactics, using control, being intimidating, being very small-minded, always trying to like check you and tell you like what you're not, what you're lacking, trying to put you in your place, things like that. But then they would be very successful, or have a lot of money or have a lot of power, have a lot of influence. And, over time, it's just kind of like, that stuff got old to me, it's kind of like, no, I'm not doing that anymore, and then I made changes and I started doing work for myself and started, doing some independent contract work. And I mean, it wasn't always easy, but at least I had more control over things. So then it seemed like I was going back into this situation. So that's when I said, no, this, the buck is going to stop here. I've learned that lesson and I'm not going back. So I think at that point I really had to like lay low. I just told him I was like not feeling well, that I wouldn't be able to teach the next week, it was really true. I really wasn't feeling well. And, he told me if I needed to like not teach to let him know, and I did. And I could tell he got upset and he got like kind of snippy in his emails and then, like I said, he was not concerned about my health. And then like out of nowhere, I think like after a few days, he's like, where are you? I'm concerned. Be here at 3 p.m. I'm taking you to the hospital. Like, this is what the email says. Okay, really? I'm not going to the hospital with some crazy maniac in another country where I'm not speaking the language, and this dude speaks like 4 languages. Yeah, right. This sounds like some like National Geographic horror story, FX, Lifetime stuff. Try not to curse. Where I'm gonna be like drugged up in like the hospital bed. Like, nah, dude. No, you're not taking me to the hospital. No thanks. And I mean, really, even in the United States, I'm probably not going to the hospital unless it's like an absolute emergency or if it's like a checkup or something like that. I'm rolling with like holistic health because that's just the way I am right now. And I don't completely trust the American healthcare system as it is. There's too much money in there, pharmaceutical companies and all kind of craziness wrapped up in it. I'm not saying all doctors are bad or that it's not helpful, but I'm just, like I wouldn't just like quickly, that wouldn't be my like quick answer in the United States, let alone in Indonesia. When a lot of people in Indonesia go to Singapore for their healthcare. So, yeah, I'm just gonna end it on that note.